Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, dear friends. I'm happy to welcome you within the WorldSkills Conference 2021, and specifically on the session dedicated to the projects and practices developed within the WorldSkills Year of Innovation. As our good friend and colleague Jason Scales from Lincoln Electric once said, never waste a good crisis. And I actually really love this joke because I think it perfectly illustrates how the WorldSkills community approached this challenging year. Because as we know globally, it was a pretty harsh year. Yeah, a lot of activities were cancelled or significantly modified. But I think that and you all would agree that the WorldSkills community globally and nationally managed this challenge beautifully, because not only a lot of events was not cancelled, but also a lot of new projects and ideas and practices were developed. So actually today within this session, we will discuss what kind of projects was developed and what's the most important, what kind of lesson learned was made, what kind of ideas we can take further into the, let's hope someday normal life in the 2022. And today we're going to discuss it with my amazing colleagues, which I want you right now to introduce. So please welcome our speakers for today, Mr. Ben Blackidge, Deputy Chief Executive, WorldSkills UK. Hello, Ben. Carlos Fonseca, Technical Delegate, WorldSkills Portugal. Mr. Nader Imani, Head of Global Education, Festa Didactic. Konstantin Kaisin, Head of Innovative Project Division, WorldSkills Russia. Frank Nanfara, President and CEO of Studica. And Mr. Dario Volka, Technical Delegate, WorldSkills Barbados. Hello, dear colleagues. And with this, let's move to the main part of the panel. So as I said, prior to this session, we actually ask our members, our partners, to tell us more about what kind of projects was developed within their national skills organization during this year. So we made this map that I hope right now you can see on your screen. And so let me tell you a little more about what kind of projects was developed within WorldSkills Year of Innovation. So the biggest piece, understandably, was the piece with the skills competition. Like kind of symbolically, it can be divided into the three parts. First is online and hybrid competitions. The second is traditional offline competition, but in the new circumstances of COVID restrictions and different types of innovative WorldSkills-based challenges. But we will focus on this later and actually discuss a bunch of such type of challenges with my colleagues today. Specifically, I want to highlight one of the novelties that some of the countries specifically focus on the green skills and the kind of regenerative economy component on some of the challenges, and I think it's really great. So the second biggest piece, again, understandably, within the community environment of the WorldSkills is education and training. It's the second biggest block. So some of the countries focus more on the soft skills development for young people, for competitors. Some countries focus more on the experts development, and of course we will ask Ben later tell us about amazing WorldSkills UK experience in this field. And some countries were focusing on implementing new tools, new instruments within the education training practices. So for instance, even right now we are looking into this map in the Miro. We really love to use this tool, and we also learn how to do this within this year. So another also impressive piece of practices was about promoting skills. So the WorldSkills definitely occupied YouTube and moved to the TikTok. I think it's also really great. There was new amazing TV shows and programs such as New Skills TV Belgium, and also some of the podcasts and vodcasts was developed. So for instance, in Russia, we've made 15 episodes of what we call, can be translated as skills anatomy. You know, it's like the famous TV series Grey's Anatomy, but about skills and jobs. So yeah, also the promotion skills piece looks really great. And another block is about career building. visually it can seem like we can have a little less practices here, but also it's not actually the case, because if you think about it, in other blogs about the competition and online training and so on, it's all also dedicated to the career building. But here we also can see the big involvement from the industry and employers, and also we can see the big piece of the champions involvement, using kind of their success stories, involving them as an ambassadors, which is also super great. And another kind of last but not least big pieces is about international cooperation and development. I'm saying big again because some examples of the practices that you can see here, it's just some of them, and also as you can imagine, and we're also going to discuss it today, most of the projects that we presented already was also based on the international cooperation and development. And of course, research. Our colleagues, for instance, from Romania right now developing the Atlas of Jobs and Competences in urban greening sector. And of course, our colleagues from UK explore how other countries drive technical excellence, both in terms of policy and practices, which is also looks super amazing. So actually looking into this map, we can see that a lot of different practices was developed. Today, we're going to discuss some of them into the details. But before we actually going to move into the discussion, I would ask to show the short video with some highlights and some examples of these projects, please. Well, what is the great emotions. It was really cool to see pieces of these practices again. So dear colleagues, dear experts, now I want to move to your reactions. So please, like literally in 1 minute, give me some kind of first reaction on what you saw on the map. And of course, kind of a lot of practice was developed by you, by your colleagues. So can you see some kind of the trends here? Or, I don't know, how you feel about these practices in connection with your own practices? Just some first reaction. Ben, let's start from you. What do you think?
Brilliant, and thanks for inviting me to be here. It's great to see you all and speak with everybody. I think from my point of view, my overwhelming sense is of, as with you, is excitement in terms of what the community of WorldSkills has done in what's been a really difficult 18 months. And so I think the fact that there's been such innovation across the board, I think the fact that we as a community have looked at how do we use this opportunity to really grow the impact of WorldSkills and WorldSkills competitions and WorldSkills training. And I think particularly for me and for the UK, the most exciting thing is around all the stuff that's going on in the education and training space, and how we're using online tools, how we're using international cooperation to really open up the expertise that exists within WorldSkills International, not just to those who are members, but to the broader countries. And so I think as we, as you say, maybe go back to some sort of normal in the future, I don't think we want to lose that, because I think that is phenomenally important and will actually grow the impact of all the international best practice that can be shared. So I'm hopeful and I'm excited about what's been developed and looking forward to seeing what comes next. I think that was about a minute.
Thank you, Ben. Carlos, what would be your first reaction on what you saw?
Thanks, Katerina. First of all, congratulate all my colleague speakers, all the participants, and of course, WorldSkills International for the opportunity given to WorldSkills Portugal to share our initiative, the first Portuguese national digital skills competition. So answering to your questions, looking this amazing list of innovations, I think more main words appear across among the projects. And these words are hybrid, virtual, online, and digital. So the trend I see is a huge increment of digital tools, in this case, in the benefit of the people skills improvement. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. Nader, how does it look from the perspective of FESTA Didactic? Does it look promising?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me here and reflect, let's say, the voice of the industry in these activities and skills development worldwide. We are definitely observing two trends, trends as an answer of double disruptions that we just see here. One is, of course, digitalization and how the digitalization is really impacting the skills itself, but also the mode of delivery to promote skills. This is definitely one side of the story, but also the other side of the story, which is a second disruption from my point of view, is a trend towards the green or greening of the economy. So greening of the economy really impacting each, let's say, skills like hotel reception, hairdressing, very much classical ones, but also manufacturing, like mechatronics, CNC manufacturing, but also green skills, like what about water technicians and what about data analysts or vertical farming specialists? Those are really fantastic movements. And I believe that the year of innovation, for us, it has been a good reactions on that. And also, hopefully, we will continue like this.
Thank you, Nader. And actually, yeah, I kind of totally agree with you myself, as well as with Ben on the focus of the education and training, and the Carlos and the piece of the online and digital possibilities. But Kostya, you even choose as a background the green color. Doesn't mean that you're also kind of the fans of the green skills approach, or it's just coincidence?
Not only green skills, but well, as a main idea of this year of our community, I can say that people first of all work with people, and then with technologies. For the previous year, this was quite natural for all of us to communicate. But today, in today's situation, we see that we need a special focus on this, on how we communicate, how we share ideas, and so on. So I think that's the main, for me, that's the main idea of this year, the year of innovations.
Thank you, Kostya. Frank, so what about Studica? What would be your first reaction?
Well, my first reaction is I guess the word scaling comes to mind. You know, the idea that we can now reach a lot more delegates, experts, and students all over the world. In the past, when we would think about doing the competitions or actually providing training, providing support, it was always, you know, you would think one-on-one. But now, because of the year of innovation, we learned that we can effectively provide training, we can effectively communicate with people using online tools. So now we feel that we could provide better training, better support to more people than ever before. So this is actually very, very exciting for us. We think that we can do a much better job for WorldSkills and all the member countries.
Thank you, Frank. And Dario, so Now, you in Barbados today was focusing mostly on juniors, kind of on our future champions, future amazing experts and successful professionals, but maybe something else pick up your mind and was interesting for you within this mapping of the Year of Innovation.
Hi, Kate. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Yes, I totally agree. And I think that it shows the importance of WorldSkills and the WorldSkills community to Barbados and to each country. We implemented our WorldSkills Barbados program to help improve the quality of our national TVET system. And that is exactly what we've seen here. We've seen the green skills, the hybrid skills, new and innovative ways to introduce skills to different countries. We had core skills development, experts development, and then we used it as an opportunity here in a small island developing state with under 300,000 people to introduce new skills to our young people. And we felt like this year, because of postponement of our national competition for juniors, that it was important to carry on the brand of WorldSkills Barbados Juniors and introduce some new skills to our juniors 14 to 18 years old. So definitely the mapping, the Year of Innovation was extremely important to Barbados.
Thank you, Dario. Thank you, all of the experts. And with this, actually, without further hesitation, let's move to the main part of the discussion. Okay, so the most important piece before actually gonna ask you to share your practices into the more details, is I want to ask you, besides explaining actually what was the project, how it worked, actually some piece of your motivation. So why actually you think it's happening exactly this year? Was it simply the answer to the COVID challenges? Okay, probably the word simple is not actually the right one here, but was it the answer to the challenges of the global pandemic, or it was because maybe you free some time and energy to do something that was maybe postponed earlier, or maybe just the time was right exactly in this year. So with this, let's move to our first speaker, Carlos. For you within the WorldSkills Portugal, it looks like it was the first time when you tried to run such type of online competition. So can you please share I don't know, the main idea of your competition, how it worked, what was great? The floor is yours.
Thanks, Katerina. So maybe I start with the motivations behind the development of this project, and then talk a little bit about the format that we use. So next slide, please. So the main arguments behind the project is first, as you know, Portugal is included in the framework of European Union. We have an action plan for digital education between 21 and 27 in a way to configure educational plan and training for digital. The second main reason, it was a national reason. Digital transition is defined as one of the fundamental strategic instruments for the development of the Portuguese economy. Third reason, everyone understands it was the pandemic situation that made it impossible to organize face-to-face events and push people into confinement. For the main reason, of course, the challenge launched by WorldSkills International to its members to innovate face of this pandemic situation. And the last but not the least, you know, the huge WorldSkills virus that the WorldSkills members family, and in this case, WorldSkills Portugal, has inside in order to reach young people and to organize skills competition. So next slide, please. Talking about the format. So the format, it was make it easy and assuring equality, transparency, and fairness for all the participants. We had 160 competitors competing in 18 different digital skills, able to compete from any location. And we just ask to competitors for a usual computer with an internet connection where they can access the cloud where all the software was, and just a surveillance camera that shows the computer and the space surround. So competitors were able to access the cloud some days before the competition for familiarization with this new competition environment. So from the organizing point of view, we start the setup of this competition 6 months before. It happens in June of this year. And I'm talking about the development of technical descriptions, online experts and chief experts training, test project, marketing schemes, CIS development, a lot of promotion activities. So the normal procedures that we do in a normal face-to-face competition organization. So the entire competition was developed in the cloud, where WorldSkills Portugal organized the same hardware and software for each participant. The cloud system was configured in a way that only access by competitors during the test periods as defined in the skill management plan. File sharing system with data log that assure the correct delivery of modules of the test projects, and all the competition developed in models that could not be carried out from one competition day to another day, and all the assessment process was carried by the experts at the same time, involving all experts based in the same assessment procedures that WorldSkills International. So the entire development of the competition was constantly supervised by the elements of WorldSkills Portugal. So last but not least, next slide, please. We developed a format with an opening and a closing ceremonies. And in this case, I share a good image of the main objective for us, that it was reach young people with an illustrative image of a young competitor at the closing ceremony with a huge surprise when she received the announcement that he had won the competition in his skill. So in conclusion, in a situation of total confinement, it was the solution that WorldSkills Portugal found to promote the importance of the digital qualifications, to organize or to still continuing organize skills competitions, and of course to respond to the challenge of WorldSkills International. So, thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. And I think that considering how many countries right now are also developing some types of the forms of the digital strategy, you know, it's also can be a great example for them how you can connect the digital skill strategy and digital skills development tools with such type of the national strategies as well. And some of the technical tools that you use, considering all of the rise of the cloud computing technologies and so on, I think that definitely a lot of countries can learn from your experience. And also, you know, when we first time ran the hybrid competition, we also was afraid that on the closing ceremony, you can actually, you will lack, you know, all of this emotion that you usually experience on the WorldSkills closing ceremonies. But as we saw on your screenshot, well, maybe it's not the same, but it's also, you know, great emotions from competitors, from experts, even when they hear their results, and we can see their emotions even on the screen. So I think it's really great. Frank, let's move to you. Sorry, not Frank, not there. Not there. Let's move to you first. So you have had challenges within the mechatronics, Industry 4.0 and water technology this year. So can you please tell us more about these challenges and specifically like what was novelty in it? And also why you actually choose the format of so-called challenges instead of the classical WorldSkills in this case, please.
Okay, thank you. So let me just start with a very simple statement that the future is really a continuation of the past and the present, and so that actually we did not start with a crash. Festo has been always rewarding and encouraging TVET all around the world. So those are a few examples from the recent past where is other on the Asian online mechatronic workshop that we are leading or using basically digital platforms, or it is on the Latin American mechatronic games that has been launching already a couple of months ago, even just before the pandemic. But also the virtual tech or virtual water tech in between the Russian and German partners in the meetings and cooperation of supporting Industry 4.0 with the experts in Brazil. So those are just a few examples really to show us a little bit what was the idea we had behind the challenges and what was really the rationale that we had. We wanted basically to explore ways and means to reach a global SDG or SDG 4, which is upon the UN decade of the actions in quality education for all. So, of course, we wanted just to spread the movement of the WorldSkills by doing so. We wanted just to go through the ed tech expertise and improve the knowledge in this field. Using the digitalization, I just rightly mentioned before, to offer tools for more achievements and more reaching out of participants, but also experience this digital hybrid modes. And of course, supporting as a template, as a novum for the WorldSkills members in implementation and the delivery. So basically, this has been going on in the kind of three different challenges that we have been organizing. The skills for mechatronics in the form of a challenge. We have been having 26 teams registered, and this has been offered or is being offered basically is an ongoing process in terms of a knowledge check, and this is a level 1, it's in a 1 hour. So it's very important also to keep in mind the time, but also the second level, which would be a bit longer, like in terms of simulation, programming of digital twins and digital tools. And of course, the whole process is being rewarding with a certificate of attendance, and this is also important for participants. The second part, or the second challenge that we have been launching, and it's still in the ongoing process, it's a 48, the Industry 4.0, with 17 teams registered in 2 different steps. The step 1 is I would just say, is a capacity building part of it through webinars and in planning, control, IT security, industrial Internet of Things, and data analysis, among others. And also the step 2, which is basically going in a kind of programming and doing part of it. So the doing in the manufacturing executive systems, the doing in the IT security and data analysis, and also machine learning. Of course, the whole process here again being rewarded with a certificate of attendance. And the last basically challenge that we have been launching, or it has been ending already. So it's in water technology, where we had 14 experts and 17 teams altogether, split in 3 different parts. The first part was using the speed quizzing system, so it's a kind of knowledge check. And the second part was a little bit going in towards doing part of it in operation in water technology by hand, by touching and doing, let's say, operations on water tech. And the last one was a kind of water and wastewater simulation and process optimization. Of course, here too, we have been also providing a kind of certification of attendance as a reward for all the participants. So back to you.
Thank you, Nader. We're actually gonna reflect on this, some of the specific pieces of the challenges that you just mentioned. But Frank, first, let's move to you, because within the mobile robotics online challenge, you also, besides the novelty in the format, you also implemented this earlier mentioned very important component of the, I would say, use the term green skills and kind of regenerative economy piece within the task project. So can you tell us more about the novelty both in the content and in the format?
Sure. So do we have the video running here just to Okay, well, before you start running the video, I guess you're going to start running the video. Great. I thought that while I'm talking, it would be great that you can actually see the video that we put together of all what each of the countries created. We actually had 17 countries that started, and we had 12 that finished the competition. And you can see as I'm speaking the different countries and what they actually created in this mobile robot. So let me start by just saying the project was designed for all members. Anybody was, was invited, any member country. Of course, we only allowed one team per country. And we started with 17 countries, basically like Russia, Chinese Taipei, we had South Korea, China, Japan, Indonesia, Macau, Thailand, Brazil, Austria, Hong Kong, and Belarus, just to name a few. So, we felt that, with the Year of Innovation, we certainly did not want to lose any momentum that we had gained in this competition, in the mobile robotics competition. We wanted to have we want everyone to experience the same thing that they would have done. Of course, it would have been online and not on site. That was going to be a little bit difficult. In the project, basically, we talked about being a green project. So as you can see in the competition there online, that what the students had to build is an autonomous robot that was basically like an autonomous garbage truck. Now, all the robots look different. Everybody has their own idea of what an autonomous garbage truck would look like. But essentially what they had to do, the robots autonomously, meaning they did not use joysticks or teleoperation type system. Everything is programmed autonomously, and the robots would get their instruction. For example, in this case, they're picking up the hazardous material. They have to put it into their bin, and then they have to bring it to the waste management area to dispose of the material. And this is all done autonomously, which is amazing. So they have to go through the streets. They have to, if there's any kind of obstruction, you can see how it moves around any obstruction. If there's a stop sign, if there's three different, in this case, 3 different houses or 3 different locations where they have to find the waste management material. Actually, there's 4 here, and you can see the robot. This is, not sure which country this is. I missed that one, but you can see that everybody builds their own different robot, and you can see how their mechanism for picking up the garbage and then disposing it, putting it into their bin, and then putting the bin down, and then they have to move to the area. Now, everybody can do things very differently. They could pick all the garbage up at one time. They could bring it to the garbage area. Now, what you'll also notice is this is all done, of course, online. Everybody is in remote areas compared to the on-site competition where people are using the same area and everybody has people looking on. This is different where it was all done from their home location. Of course, keeping in mind that this is during COVID and of course, nobody could get together. But I think it turned out really, really well. So what we're combining here is mobile robotics, autonomous driving vehicles, and green energy, because we're talking about waste management. We're using a system that is clean, and it's actually a really, really interesting way to teach all these different disciplines. And you can see some of the robots work very well, some of them not as well, but for the time that they had to do it, they did extremely well. Here's one that's a little bit bigger, has more room to capture or to contain the material. And it's also very interesting. Just to let you know, of the countries that did participate, it was Russia that won the gold medal, and Chinese Taipei that took silver, South Korea took bronze. And in terms of the other teams that won Certificate of Excellence, China, Japan, Indonesia, and Macau. And Certificate of Completion, Thailand, Brazil, Austria, Hong Kong, and Belarus. So everybody scored very well. As you can see, the robots do really, really well. Some, like this one here, you can see how fast the robot moves and how, in this case, picking up different waste material, putting it into different bins, and now moving the material to the waste management area, doing it very quickly. And this is part of the scoring. I would think, and you can see how they moved the material into the proper bins. Very, very impressive. This is actually Thailand here, and really want to congratulate all the teams that did a really wonderful job. And I think this demonstrates that you can do a competition online. And one of the things that I want to say about the competition that makes it really interesting for the future is that we can accommodate more teams because it's online, rather than having limitations on space. The other thing that we can do being online is that we can accommodate younger students that may not have the ability to travel because of restrictions on age or things like that. And of course, think about the countries with really large, remote areas like Russia, where you have, schools all over the country that can't get to one place. So I think the opportunities are really limitless with this, what we've learned here. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. And actually, totally agree with you, because from the one side, what we saw is totally embrace the best values and principles of the WorldSkills, including transparency, the fairness, the same infrastructure list and test projects, and so on and so on. From the other side, with this kind of hybrid format, I will not repeat your arguments, but I totally agree with this. Everything like more teams, more possibilities. But what I also like that they are actually solving the socially valuable task, because we all know that the garbage issue is totally a global issue for like all of us. And from the other side, they can not only demonstrate their technical skills, but they can embrace their creativity, and so on and so on. So, Kostya, moving to you. I know that, of course I know that, but actually I wanted to start from thanking you for joining our team of the WorldSkills Russia this year to help us develop the innovative, what we call here in Russia, Future Skills Team Challenge this year, because as already Frank and Adair illustrated, we also realized that besides of the classical technical skills, we totally need to support our students, support our competitors into developing entrepreneurial skills and the soft skills, besides the green skills, which Frank already illustrated. So can you please tell how we was organizing this experiment this year and why it was important to embrace entrepreneurial and soft skills beside the classical hard skills this year? The floor is yours.
Thank you, Kate. First of all, I want to start with some background, because this idea of team challenges was discussed for, I think, at least 2 years, even before the pandemic, and the basis of this idea was the general trend of digital transformation of the whole economy. And the pandemic during the last and this year just made a speed up for this process of digital transformation. So we just cannot ignore it anymore. Next slide, please. And the digital transformation really changed not only the economy itself, but also how we define the professional. There's typical definition that professional is a person who use its skills to create products. That's obvious. That's what we usually use, and that's still the majority of world lives like this. But due to transformation of economy, we see that more and more people in different economy sectors tend to unite as teams, to combine their skills, to share their ideas, to make synergy out of these products, out of this process of teamwork, and create really innovative products. And also the team need to work not only inside the team, but the team need to work with the external environment, with the client, with some existing solutions, with all the uncertainty that we have today in the world. And this somehow transforms our understanding of the critical skills for the team. Next slide, please. And we found these skills well detailed in recent report, Skills for the 20s. And as you see, it's mainly focused on what we usually call soft skills. That's not a new idea, but today, and especially for teams, these skills are crucial, and soon it's gonna be just inevitable. This is about the skills are all about how does people communicate with each other, with the customer, with the client, and how does people think on their entrepreneurial mindset, ecology mindset, engineering mindset, and so on. And I think that's important that these skills are not focused on the specific economy sectors, but they're cross-sectoral. So based on this background, next slide, please. We settled up a number of experiments where we combine the team competitions on emerging technologies with different aspects of teamwork, of communication, of green skills somewhere. And our local, the first local goal is to develop the precise instruments to make assessment of these soft skills, these communication skills, and so on. But the main long-term goal is to give to our universities and colleges this format of competition as the base for team development, for assessment of such skills. Next slide, please. Because in our first pilot events where we had 23 teams from different Russian universities, we really saw that universities are hungry for such a format, and they really want to work with their students, not just as with the individuals, but with teams, to show them how to work as a team, how to communicate, how to make synergy out of sharing their ideas, skills, and so on. So this is the next step for us to somehow to discuss with the universities how can they exactly use this format of team challenges, and moreover how we can develop these skills assessment methods on maybe some other skills and types of work of professionals. Thank you.
Challenges for now. Let's move to the experts, because as we know, within the WorldSkills community, literally nothing can be done without the experts, and logically following the experts' development. So Ben, you within the WorldSkills UK, we know that the whole this year we were following your activities. There was a bunch of them, including the professionalization of the experts and the pressure tests and so on. So can you please tell us a little bit more about this amazing project?
Yeah, certainly. Before I kind of talk about the projects themselves, I'm going to talk a bit about what we're looking at doing in terms of developing our experts, and also talk a bit about what we've done around the international pressure tests and best practice exchanges, which we've been running this year. But first of all, just your question around motivation, I think is really important for us. COVID has presented an opportunity in some ways for us to really accelerate this work. But we've been looking at doing it for a while. And the reason is that, as everyone on this call is, we believe there's a massive amount of impact and change that can be brought about through WorldSkills and WorldSkills competitions. And we want to look at how do we maximise that. And so we've looked at these kind of couple areas, plus a whole other range of things this year to really increase the impact, not just for us and for the competitors and the experts that are involved, but also for the wider TVET system in the UK, because we haven't been using that. And so there's one thing for us around impact, and the second thing is around using this amazing international network of other members, of global partners and sponsors, of experts from around the world, and seeing actually we are in the UK in a unique position to really leverage that access to drive up quality in the UK. And so this has been, while a really difficult time, a really exciting time for us to develop those things. So I'll just quickly go through these two areas. So next slide, please. So as Katerina just said, experts are so hugely important to everything we do. And please don't tell my experts that if you see them. But they are absolutely central to what we do. And so we wanted to invest some time and some resource, not just so that they can develop and help us as a team and as a member, but also how they can then be repositioned in their role to be experts within the UK as well as experts within the international arena. And so we did a couple of things. We looked at a new way of mentoring and bringing on new experts, a new way of sharing kind of best practice and experience among the experts. And we've called those technical mentors. And we have different mentors for different areas of competitions. And they're really key in terms of making sure that our experts are of the highest quality. Second thing, we've talked a lot in the UK around how you coach for high performance. And so we've done a lot of work around using insights from elite sport. We work with Loughborough University, which is significantly involved in Team GB in the Olympics in the UK. And so we've done a lot of work in terms of how do you coach for high performance. And to back that up, we all know that data is kind of king at the moment. And so we've looked at how do we use tools like CIS and other ways that we gather information, both from a technical point of view, but also from a kind of mindset and competition craft point of view. And so we've done loads of work in terms of looking at how we present data, both in terms of how that influences training, but also how it influences selection and assessment. And to sit above all that, we've got new contracts, which broaden the role of the expert. And all of these things are really important for the experts in the expert community, but almost more so are about how we reposition this role in the UK about these amazing practitioners being experts in their field. And so they've been hugely used more and more outside of WorldSkills to talk about how we drive up quality in the UK more broadly. And that's something like the Centre of Excellence, which we've launched this year, which is around driving quality at the grassroots through colleges. So we'll see that come through in squad and team in the future. So that's a quick overview of what we've done with experts. Next slide, please. And we've also been looking at, again, how do we use this time to make the most of our position within the WorldSkills international community. And so there's been a lot of talk about online and hybrid competitions. And so I won't go over again what the benefits are more broadly, because I completely agree with everything that's been said so far around what they do for opening up opportunity and increasing reach and impact. But just wanted to give you an idea of kind of what we've been doing. So we've been running international pressure tests and also what we're calling best practice exchanges. And the best practice exchanges are all about how do we, as well as competing against each other, learn from each other. So how do we in the UK learn from you, and also hopefully how do you learn from us in terms of some of the things that we do and some of the things that we approach. So that's been going on for the last year, and we don't plan on stopping doing that. We think that it won't be the the complete future, and face-to-face is going to be always an important part of what we do. But we want to make sure we continue to do this so that we can increase the amount of interaction and contact we have with the amazing quality that's in the network. And all of that is then, for us in the UK, and I guess this is part of that why motivation, is all around giving us a stronger position to then help drive the quality that we see across the college and training provider network in the UK. And so we're running a whole host of webinars and face-to-face work. We're creating new online resources from other countries, like you see, from Canada to UAE, looking at how do we get the best practice that is out in the world and bring it back into the UK. And so we've got a whole program of those coming up over the next 6 months through to March. And we'd love to have you involved in that, anyone in the community who wants to be part of that. As you can probably tell, I could talk about this for way longer than 5 minutes because it's been a really difficult but really exciting year for us. So yeah, that's I'll kind of leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben, so much, and specifically thank you for always making not only about the UK, but totally using the power and the possibilities of the international benchmarking, always involving other countries, always sharing your experience. So thank you for being kind of so proactive in this international collaboration. And I'm absolutely sure that we're going to see the immediate results of this work with experts in the Shanghai and then in St. Petersburg and in Lyon, because, well, you never can invest, too much in your professional and experts development. Okay, last but not least, definitely Dario. So this year Barbados was focusing on the work with the juniors. So it's definitely, as we always say, it's our future, but in your case, it's literally our future because it was WorldSkills Barbados Juniors Future Skills Camps. So please tell us more about this project, why you decided to focus on this format and on juniors this year.
Yes, definitely. WorldSkills Barbados Juniors Future Skills Camp. We were scheduled to have our juniors competition this year, but as a result of the pandemic, we had to postpone our competition. So we decided that this was our opportunity to introduce some new skills to our young people. After previous WorldSkills competitions, we recognized that we introduced TVET to our young people too late. And that's what affected our performance at WorldSkills competitions. So we really needed to invest in our younger competitors. The age group for the competition was 14 to 18 to include students from secondary schools as well. And we decided, let's get together this camp. Let's introduce some new skills to our young people because we had our competition and it included electrical installation, hairdressing, those traditional skills. So this time around, we decided to include 3D digital game art. And to most of you, that may not seem like a future skill, but for us here in Barbados, we don't have any qualifications in that area, in animation or so on, that students can go and participate in. So that would tell you how far behind we're lagging. We also had aerial robotics, building information modeling, as you saw on the screen there just now, or digital construction. We had Internet of Things and mobile applications development. And one thing that was very interesting about this is about 2 days into registration, we were fully booked. Registrations were full, but within 2 days. And 80% of the participants were males, which is extremely interesting because in Barbados, we have a notion that our males don't want to participate in skills development and training and so on. So that was extremely important to us. So what this camp enabled us to do is carry on and keep that momentum for the WorldSkills Barbados Juniors competition. And it enabled us to create awareness and relevance of the WorldSkills Barbados brand. It was the first of its kind in Barbados and our Caribbean region. And as all the others have shown, and as Ben alluded to just now, that international cooperation. The camp was actually delivered by our colleagues in WorldSkills Russia. And what was extremely interesting is that all the participants were at their home, so it was remote, and the experts were in Russia. The participants were able to, especially in Internet of Things and aerial robotics, program robots, so the codes and so on that they developed, program the robots in Russia. So they were able to see the robots moving and drones and everything, and in Internet of Things, they were working with traffic lights. They were also able to connect those things to career options. Aerial robotics, there was someone there who showed the career pathway. These are the things that you can do with the aerial robotics skill. In Internet of Things, the fact that they were using traffic lights, it showed the connection to a smart city. So it's really important, as I said before, for a small island developing state to have access to WorldSkills community. And the fact that our Russian colleagues could provide this support in these new skills. As I said, in Barbados, we don't have these skills being offered at our institutions and so on. So it's extremely important for us to be able to have this camp. And I can tell you this right now, it was not a one-off camp, and we will definitely be having this camp annually from now on. Thank you, Kate. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dario. It was extremely inspiring to see this kind of smiling faces, and we were really happy to be involved in this project. So, dear colleagues, with this, let's move to the final, very short, but also the most important part of our conversation today. So as we have literally a few minutes left, but I cannot kind of leave you, I cannot let you go without this final sharing, because now when you saw these maps, you hear the presentation from each other, we definitely spend a lot of time this year within the WorldSkills community, within the different working groups and open meeting and so on. Can you please, within 1 minute, share your the most valuable takeaways from this year, from your practice, or maybe something that you pick up from the presentation of your colleagues, but literally lesson learned and the 1, 2, 3 takeaways which you believe it is important to understand and to take with us into the 2022 and further. So Frank, let's start from you. What would be your takeaways? Sorry, Frank, it looks like we cannot hear you. Can you please unmute yourself?
I'll start all over again. Oh, sorry.
Yes, please.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, the biggest takeaway that I see is the fact that we can definitely scale the competition, make it available to more countries, make it available to different age groups as well. You know, one of the things about the international competition is that it's getting bigger and bigger, and it's very difficult to accommodate more students or more teams and more countries in the competition. And of course, trying to bring in, let's say, a junior competition. And I think that using the online model or a hybrid model can help us in achieving that. So we can, I think that we can expand WorldSkills International to even do things like junior competition. Of course, it would be online, which solves a lot of problems for WorldSkills International. So I'm really excited for the future for WorldSkills and the mobile robotics competition.
Thank you, Frank. Carlos, what would be your takeaways?
Yeah, maybe I can talk about the 3 takeaways regarding the experience that with our project. I can tell you from the organizing point of view, as you know, we organize a face-to-face competition since 1950, so a very long time. And I can tell you that the complexity and the expenses behind the organization of a skills competition in this format is not very low than the organization of a face-to-face competition, since the cost with computational processing, virtual machining, video computer system management, cloud computer technical support is in fact very expensive. But from the organizer point of view, however, it's a very good solution to complement the face-to-face normal competition. So the second lesson that we get from the participant point of view is that this model no bring any kind of costs for the participants. There is no accommodation, no transportation, etc. However, what they say, a very good initiative, but without the same spectacularity as a face-to-face competition, because the human component of face-to-face contact, it's very, very important. However, a very good solution in a situation where face-to-face competition is not possible. And for the future, we will continue organizing our national skill digital competition. We are start working on that. The next second edition will happen in May of the next year, but just an instrument to promote the importance of digital qualification and without interfere with our normal face-to-face competition, like we done, as I've said, since 1950, taking in account that protocols based on evolution in pandemic situation, which this time is quite good in Portugal, considering that we have more than 85% of the population fully vaccinated. So in conclusion, skills virtual competition for the future, yes, but as a complementary activity of our normal face-to-face competition. So back to you, Katerina.
The same question to you. Within 1 minute, what would be the main lesson?
Well, I would just say that we already learned that a new mode of delivery in learning through competition, which is digital, is possible. And this is already a fantastic take. It is helping us to reach more people around the globe. And this is already a great contribution in terms of innovation for SDG 4. But we also know that digital mode of delivery is good, but it's also different. And this difference is also putting the stress on experts, on teachers, and also on the way of the pedagogy, that this needs to be created. And I would like really to coin the terminology digital pedagogy, and how this digital pedagogy is going to help us to learn more and also to learn more efficient in the future using the digital technology.
Thank you. Ben, what would be your lesson learned?
So I think from my point of view, it's really encouraging today to hear that everyone's kind of on the same page. So that there's generally a collective idea about how do we move this forward. I think I would agree with everything that's been said already. I think the thing I would take away from our last year is that these changes and these innovations are hard won. And there's a lot of convincing people of different approaches to doing things. And so what I would say is we need to not lose that. We need to keep moving forward from that. I know all of us have done a lot of convincing over the last 18 months. And actually, I think we're in a really positive place. And so it's now about, okay, how does this then transition back into a bit more of a hybrid, some face-to-face, some online, while not losing that ground that we've gained and not losing that experience that we've gained.
Thank you, Ben. Dario, of course, the same question.
Right, so 3 basic things. We can't do it alone. Definitely, we need the WorldSkills community. It's important to the development of all the member countries. Secondly, our young people enjoy learning these skills, but learn them in a practical way, being able to apply their knowledge to skills and carry out functions and so on. And definitely, there is a need for technical colleges and universities. So I'm throwing that out there to the international technical colleges and universities to come to Barbados. There are opportunities here. Our young people want to develop these skills and gain qualifications. And I can tell you for next year that because of the high demand, we'll be including a new age group to our juniors Future Skills Cat of 11 to 13. So definitely those are our takeaways from this year.
Thank you, Dario. And Kostya, as Dario already mentioned, the universities, well, we're definitely going to move more activities into our universities, as we are going to have our inter-university competition pretty soon. But maybe there was also something from your colleagues' presentation what was the most interesting for you. So what would be your takeaways?
Well, my main takeaway, I think it's quite a general idea. It came both from universities, from all the colleagues projects, from everything I saw during this year around us, is the idea that finally the people seems to me, are ready for change. Even the previous year, when the world was shocked due to obvious reasons, but today people finally got the idea that the world is changing. Not only because of pandemics, but also because of digitalization, all the green trends and so on. People are ready for these ideas, and they are ready for the idea that they need to change themselves. And today and maybe next few years are going to be the best time for any innovations, for any experiments. Even the university that are traditionally quite rigid, today they are ready to have some innovation and have some changes. Thank you.
Thank you, Kostya. Unfortunately, our time is up, so I would not repeat everything that my colleagues just said, summarizing. I would just say that I'm totally agree with this, and I'm really hope that the WorldSkills community and the WorldSkills International definitely can help in this scalability and can help to spread more of such type of practices. And I think amazing speaker that we have today was able to demonstrate that this practices, this project that was developed during this WorldSkills Year of Innovation are definitely not kind of one-use type of practices, that we can use this experience, use these approaches further. And of course, we can use it in preparation to our major events next year. We all really hope to see you all in person in Shanghai 2022. Please participate into the further session of this WorldSkills Conference 2021. Come in person into the Shanghai 2022. We're really looking forward to continue discussing and developing all of these topics also in our regional events in WorldSkills Competition 2023 and in St. Petersburg, and WorldSkills Asia in Kuala Lumpur, and of course Lyon 2024. Probably I will not try to look further, but it looks like for the next 2-3 years we already have a lot to do. So with this, let me summarize the session. Dear experts, dear colleagues, you were amazing. Thank you so much for preparing this great content, to sharing your passions. Thank you, dear colleagues, and goodbye.